Hey, what's going on, y'all? It is Joe from the More True. Kobe's back on the line.
Oh yeah, I'm hitting you live again. From the East Coast. It's Wednesday, so it's hump day. I know we're getting over that hump, getting ready for the weekend. Everybody's getting excited, getting a little more motivated towards the end of the week. You guys, keep grinding. We're almost there.
Yeah. We gonna get into relationship. I love this song right here. Ooh. But Kobe said he had some interesting facts last time, and we caveat up a leadership part three, and we talked to Rod, and Rod said something about selfishness in a relationship, which is very true. It's very true because sometimes we can get a little selfish. So, Kobe, what do you feel about that one?
So when we talked on leadership part three, and Rod hit that up, he just sparked an interesting point. After listening to the recordings of leadership part three, but being selfish in a relationship, you know what I mean? It can't happen. I mean, I'm pretty sure we've all heard the term, it takes two to tango. But I learned in this relationship that I'm in now with my wife, we've been married 4 or 5 years, been together. It's been so long now, I don't even remember the exact time we've been just together. But regardless, um, you love somebody so much that you give everything and do everything for them. You're not selfish, you're unselfish or whatever. You're giving everything to them and they give everything to you. And by you pouring everything into them and them pouring in everything into you, you're taken care of and they're taken care of and both of you are happy. If that ain't happening in your relationship, there's something wrong. You should be every day, you know what I mean? You should be making sure that that other person is being successful, that they're going in the right direction, that they're happy, all the above. And if you got to move mountains for them, then you move mountains for them. And then they will reciprocate the same thing. But if they're not reciprocating the same thing, there's something wrong.
Hmm. Okay. Definitely. Shit, man. That's pretty deep right there. Moving the mountains. I think that's where I guess where we have to change our mentality. I think that's where we have to be a little different. And like you said, is you weren't looking, crazy thing and all this other stuff about hey, building that strong foundation. Like, how do we get that? I'll be honest with you, man. It's like it's a blessing to be married because you're with that person, and that person is your sidekick. And that is your team, And the best part about having a team is that when you go home, that is your team member to talk to, and that's your person who you're going to confide into. And at night, you guys have fun because that is your number one. So how is it like that, Kobe?
Well, I would. I wanted to bring this up on part one, but we kind of ran short. But on part two, or this is part two now, so I want to go over this. But in a relationship, we talked about in part one how you kind of look at looks or whatever when you're looking for somebody, and if you don't think they look good or whatever, you might turn the other way. And we've seen so many movies. I mean, how many movies have came out where they show this person might not look the best or whatever, and they're like a best friend, and then the relationship fails, and the best friend falls in love with the woman, and we've seen it a million times. But that is basically how I would say that's how it works, just based on experience. I mean, a lot of times you get with somebody because you think they're the prettiest thing you've ever seen, or maybe for a woman the most handsome thing they've ever seen, and it turns out they don't have the attributes or the things that you want to for the rest of your life, and then you don't stay together. You know what I mean? And living together really shows you true colors. But I will say with my wife, I was going through a divorce and happened to meet my wife, who's not my wife, but I met her and I had no intention of being with her. I just wasn't really into, I guess the way she looked or just nothing really special. We were just friends, and it was really nice to have a good friend there. And then over time, I realized how much this person was there for me and how much this person cared for me. And it wasn't for anything. You know what I mean, Joe? Like I wasn't giving her, a Louis Vuitton bag, or I wasn't giving her a car, or there was no
Mm,
materialistic items, Joe. Like, there was
mm,
nothing. You know
exactly.
what I mean?
Oh yeah.
There was literally nothing.
Oh man, and that's crazy because like like I said, I'm not afraid to air my stuff out, and I definitely has punted, you know, a good relationship before, and like I said, like, hey, I feel like maybe you get that opportunity again, you learn from it, and that's the take. But yeah, I mean that being in a relationship and you're out here chasing this woman, you know, doesn't necessarily mean like you said. That's a big topic right there. It's materialistic thing. A lot of women now in 2022 is all about the brands, and they want them. You want the Louis bag, and they want this and that. A lot of guys are going without, going way um, out their means and to furnish this type of stuff for what? You know, at the end of the day, you don't even know if that's gonna be your person. I feel like if a person is asking you for something like that, then that person is not very true at heart because at the end of the day, what you say in your vows, sickness or health, you're rich or poor, right? But we have some of these
Oh
women,
yeah.
we do have some of these women out here who where they are looking for the male who has the money and they're not even on the same playing field, but the male will consider them, hey, yeah, I'm gonna help you get on that playing field and bring you up. But to me, it's like they're chasing the bag. But honestly, with a female who has more than a male, is she willing on to take that responsibility, like the male does, to make that male better? Because I mean, obviously, you look at it, Kobe. When you say you were going through your divorce and everything, and I be your wife now, she was already, a had a job. She had, master degree, so she was way more excelling than you were at the time, right? You're kind of like in a kind of like a downward spiral pause.
Oh
But
yeah, I was definitely down on one knee. Not doing so hot, going through a divorce. I mean, I still had a stable career and whatnot, but she was definitely outdoing me because I don't have no master's degree and she does. She was doing very well and was excelling in her life, and I was definitely hurting, and she was definitely there for me. That's what I was trying to say. Like I was not throwing out thousands of dollars. I wasn't flashing any kind of crazy cars or nothing. I was just being who I am and who I wanted to be. Not necessarily in the bad light that I was in, but trying to come out of the rut that I was in. She was able to see my heart on my sleeve, if you would, and realize that I do love and I do give myself to someone when I'm with them,
right,
and that made her fall in love with me. And then from there, I just realized that looks aren't everything. My wife is gorgeous. I think she's the most beautiful thing in the world. Just being with someone and making that connection with someone and living with them and taking care of each other, that's what makes them so attractive. That's what people aren't getting. That's what's not clicking for people. Is it's not the guy's muscles or a woman's features that necessarily make you fall in love and be everything. It's when you make the memories and let's say you kiss her on the forehead and then that forehead now, I know it sounds kind of funny, but that forehead becomes something of a significance to you because that's the place where you lay your lips. You know what I mean? So those are the things that you hold on to and that are real. And this is as real as it gets. I mean, I know maybe this might be it's hard for some to hear, but you know if it's real, and you'll know it. Trust me. When you love like no other. I mean, it's the realest thing you can ever have.
exactly,
And that's what you got to build a foundation on. You can't build a house without a foundation.
exactly. I mean, that's a true statement. I'm gonna, everybody has their turn of events, and I mean, Kobe was able to establish something. I had something similar, you know, a while back, and to me, it was a. I felt like it was the universe setting me up, to putting me there, and I just wasn't there. I wasn't allowing myself to be there, going through so much stuff. And fellas, sometimes we lose sight of what we need to work on because we're out here trying to chase, success. And I feel like us chasing success will take away from your relationship because now we talk about selfishness. I think I was selfish when I was chasing for success and I was chasing for the glory because I wanted the title, the hype. And that way I feel like, hey, I'm this man that she's gonna be like, oh, that's my my man, you know? But in all honesty, that woman who's truly loves you for you, she's gonna love you whether your title is, the president or to the guy who delivers the mail. It's not about what you. Sometimes it's not about what you have or what you can get. I think that's where we lost the aspect of the love. The love is that person who's supporting you through whatever you're doing. And if we're in, and whether you're not going to be, this and that, that is your supporter. And I look at you, Kobe, and your wife has definitely supported you through your trial and tribulations, and she has been there. A lot of women, I think, maybe nowadays were just picked up and left because they're like, it's too much for me. I can't do this. It's too much. I'm losing X, Y, and Z. Versus the woman saying, you know what? Hey, I'm here for you. You need me, X, Y, and Z. Like, we're both in this together. I don't think that aspect kind of goes around right now. We are both in this together. You know, what do you feel about that?
In 2022, yeah, I don't even know if that's. I mean, it's hard nowadays with social media and how fast paced our lives are. Yeah, it's difficult, but I'm gonna throw this out there, and I'm gonna tell you like this: if in your relationship you are fighting all the time, you need to get out of that relationship. I don't care how many psychiatrists you see. I don't care how many counselors you see. You should not be fighting all the time. I've heard people say like it's okay. Everybody's relationship's different.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like,
now when you say fighting, what do you mean by fighting? Let's get some detail because you can say, are we talking about arguments, daily arguments, where you're just like in and out?
No, I don't mean like. I mean an argument about the groceries or something like that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Not even like a heated argument. I wouldn't even consider anything like that because that happens. You know what I mean? Sometimes my wife is not too happy with some of the things that I get, and she might have wanted something else. Whatever. Those are just normal daily occurrences with your spouse or significant others.
But what do you mean by
like
fighting?
No crap, like a full-fledged, like you're cursing at each other, saying hurtful things, or maybe it's physical. And sometimes it can be physical. That's what I mean.
And I'm gonna tell you, you say physical. At no time, I solely believe on this, and I hate the fact that I have to bring this up. A man should never put his hands on a freaking woman. I don't care if the woman's mad and she hits you. That is different. But I just had to get that off my chest because I hate it so much. I've been through experience, where I found out, one of the guys I work with, he was beating on his wife, and it hit my heart because I like you talking about how you're raised in X, Y, and Z. Like, how do you get to that point? And I literally knew, and I really wanted to beat the guy's ass because you don't do that, right? And I kind of went off topic because it's almost like a trigger. As soon as I hear that, it just makes me go off. It does. But
I agree 100%. There should be no physical contact made from any party. Honestly, a female or male doesn't matter. No one should be hitting each other. One, it's not worth it. I mean, what are you succeeding? By doing that, by hitting each other, this does not get nobody nowhere. If anything gets heated like that, separation should be made. And we can go into that all day, but definitely put that out there that if you are a male and you are putting your hands on a woman, somebody needs to put you in your place first off, but it shouldn't happen. And it shouldn't happen in the other way too, because there are some out there that get abused as well, and they just don't want to speak up because they think they're the biggest man in the world. They can't tell anybody. But abuse in any level should not occur. But I'm just telling you that I had fights, and I never ever laid my hand on a woman, but I had arguments where they were hurtful, and we were saying things that we probably shouldn't have said in anger. And they were happening constantly, and I had friends and family and people I spoke with and advice, and they were just saying, people fight, it happens, but I'm telling you right now, I've been married 4 or 5 years, and there's probably only been like 3 or 4 occasions when my wife and I have had a disagreement, and it got a little bit heated, and it didn't get heated in a physical manner or anything like that, but our voices got raised because we really believed in the argument that we were saying, and ours happened to be, like I explained in, I think, part 2, a cultural difference. How I didn't agree with something with her culture and she wanted to do it, or my culture, vice versa. And we just strongly believed in our upbringing and our cultural beliefs, and that became an argument. But it's only happened 3 or 4 times in 4 years, and I am amazed because I love my wife more than anything in the world, but I have never been with somebody where we're like best friends. We just don't fight. Life is so easy with my wife. I can do whatever I want. when I want. She can do whatever she wants when we want. We have complete trust. There's no scarcity, and that's the way things should be. And that's why I'm telling you guys, if you're fighting all the time, you're not happy. You gotta leave.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, that's true. I mean, you constantly fighting. I mean, there's always gonna be disagreements. So I look at my folks that've been married for a long time. I think they're about like 30 years now, man. And
Oh wow.
growing up as a kid, they argued and life incidents, but they made it through that kind of stuff. So, and I feel like that's the same thing. Is that if you have a person and everything aligns, that it could be great, and sometimes you guys are not gonna agree. You have to understand that instead of just quickly giving up, you got to. That's why I say you got to fight for what you believe in. Now, let me ask you this, Kobe, and then it all happens to you. Sometimes when you break, you realize the person you lost. Now, this is not true all the time, because when some people do break up, they don't realize what they had, and they're on to the next, right? Um,
Yes.
so that move on factor. Now, I'm gonna say this: if the person really made an impact on you, I think that's where you start realizing. And if the person did make an impact on you, probably just didn't care. You're just going about your free will. But usually, that one predominant person who held you down, you're never going to forget. And if you do, that means you weren't really, I don't think you're really in love with that person.
Yeah, I would just say something simple as that I've heard, and it's held true pretty much. I think most of my life. If it comes easy, it goes easy. The easier a relationship comes, and the faster it emerges. I mean, if you meet somebody who's met someone in 1 month and they're getting married, I mean, probably not going to last.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, man. So definitely got to do a part three. Part three, I want to get into what do you think a guy when we talking about finding wife material? Then we talking about the wife for a woman. What is it finding husband material? Because it works. It is in the best of both worlds, honestly, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Hey, yeah, man. So I think we'll hash that out for part three. Man, that was a good take. I'm glad you kind of gave us some insight in your relationship, and I gave some insight too. What do you got for the closing facts so we can get out of here?
I would just say, 100%. We gotta leave off with this. I mean, never, never. We'll say this again. Do never ever lay your hands on a woman if you are a male. But it shouldn't matter if you're male or female. But we all know, the abuse. Just it can't happen. It can't happen at all.
Exactly. I just got to say, definitely what Kobe said. Nope, do not put your hands. But also, when you're in that relationship, make sure you are understanding each other and you're communicating with each other. I think that's a big factor too. Communication. The lack of communication, the lack of knowing, can hinder whether it's the male or the spouse. But we're gonna drop part three in this, y'all. Kobe hit us with some great enlightenment today. I appreciate y'all for listening. Once again, be lovers and friends. Stay blessed. Keep on grinding. Part three coming soon. We're out.